back to our channel. My name is Jean Keraka.
Andrew Mutiso.
Yes, today we'll be talking about buying, selling, leasing, renting of cars, and all the legal aspects that you need to watch out for when you're doing those transactions.
We just noticed that many Kenyans are buying cars as a necessity, and it's obvious at some point you or someone you know will be buying a car. So we just want you to take you through the process that you'll go through, the legal aspects of it, because we notice also there's some sort of ignorance where people just go, maybe make an agreement, some just do it on the streets, no formality, no like processes involved, and then you go home knowing that you have a car. But it is all good, and that's also an option. But what happens when there's an issue? What happens when the ownership is in question? Where do you now run back? Where do you found your claim, or where do you establish your case from? So that's what we will be taking you through. Yeah, and there are some
there's some key pointers that we'll go through in terms of buying a car.
And I think one thing you also need to note is that the purchase of different types of cars, depending on the case-by-case analysis, are different. So there's no way you can take a sale agreement and it's uniform across the board. There are certain things you need to note, especially in an agreement where the car has an encumbrance, where the car does not belong to the person who's purporting to sell it, stuff like that. There are certain things that have to be noted and have to be put in a sale agreement to protect yourself as a seller or as a buyer, so that at the end of the day you do not lose your money in a not so wise or not so clever investment.
So the first step before even you go to drafting the sale agreement for the car, the first step is to do an inspection of the car. So you can do a physical inspection of the car. You can go with a mechanic to look at some of the qualities of the car that you're searching for, whether the car is in good condition. Maybe you can also look for services like AA Kenya, where
that is the corporate valuers.
Corporate valuers who can tell you how much that car costs at the moment, because cars depreciate, they don't appreciate. Yeah.
This more so is due diligence when you are buying second-hand cars. That is cars that are locally used. We notice most of us import cars from abroad. You may not do much of the inspection there because you can't just travel all the way to Japan just to physically inspect them.
But the cars are usually inspected at the port. There's an inspection done at the port to make sure that the cars are not, cars that are more than 8 years old are not allowed within Kenya.
Yeah, of course, there's that legal framework of what car can come into Kenya, what conditions is it, and also the tax involved. But you should be very keen. Even if you're importing, just look at the website. First know, is this person a verified seller? Are they in this kind of business, and for how long? So that it's just some sort of due diligence. You are not dealing with a shoddy company or people who have just started business. It's not a trial in your case. So you know it. You look at the features,
Features.
The features.
of the car.
Jesus is Lord.
Features of the car. You look at, you know what car it is.
So what are the key
photos,
features that you should look for in the car? The body of the car.
the body,
the
of course, the
engine.
engine. That is the bonnet
The
area.
engine, you need to look at it. Yeah.
But you know, like a layman, of course you can't be an expert in everything.
Yeah.
So how do you look at an engine and certify its quality engine?
You cannot.
You cannot.
You can't.
So this is where you involve a mechanic.
Yeah.
A qualified mechanic. Si wale ati unawapata pale Ngara, you know.
Somebody you actually trust.
Someone you trust.
Someone you've gone to, they know you, you know them, they do quite.
And most of the
job.
times, these mechanics, let me just give you a pointer. Like some mechanics usually liaise with the sellers of the car, not to tell you the fault in the car,
problem,
so that when you purchase this car and the fault comes out later on, they can come to be paid to make the car again.
And I think one thing you need to note is you have to get an independent mechanic.
Sure.
Your own mechanic. Somebody basically who's unknown to the seller. Somebody who will give you a very independent viewpoint.
Yeah. And don't go even there pointing it out as this is a mechanic. Just go with him like someone who
Like
is
a
a
friend.
relative, a
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
You are just going to check the car, but he's doing his job.
Yeah.
As much as you are pretending to be checking everything, him is just doing his job. He's checking whether everything is legit. It matches with the description you gave. Yeah, and that's it. So when they tell you this car, by the way, was in an accident, this car, this and this, those are grounds now why you should not buy the car.
Yeah. And I think for the importers, for the people who import the vehicles, I think if you're a first timer, you should liaise with people who've been doing it
Who
for
have
years.
done it
For
People
years.
who, I always say
Yeah.
that it is always important for you to liaise with people who have names to lose. Somebody
Exactly.
who's built a name for a while, so they cannot afford a scandal.
Yeah.
Startups are not usually the very best of options,
Do
especially
you know some
where
people go on OLX to purchase cars?
That's
It's not
wise,
recommendable.
Even
On
I mean,
Facebook.
when you're trying to look at what car to buy, don't just go to any website.
Yeah.
I know people want to check first online and also estimate that with their budget. Like you look at so many cars, most of them are cheap. They are
The cheaper
not.
the car, the more expensive it is.
Yeah,
the
car.
So you should be careful when you are going online just to check. Go to those websites where the car dealers are. They're verified, and as she said, they have a name to lose. These are people you know, like Toyota. If it's Toyota, you know, generally they
We are
can.
not promoting any company.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not promoting, but those legit good companies that have always been there
Yes.
since time immemorial.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I see, but this is more of your choice. But the car yards in Mombasa are cheaper than the ones in Nairobi. That is those that sell vehicles that are used foreign. That they are second-hand but have been used in the foreign countries.
Yeah.
This is because just of the transportation costs
Yeah.
from Mombasa to
Yeah.
here, which is a lot. It might be even 100,000.
100,000.
And that's quite a lot. You might want to save more if you go to Mombasa and
In Mombasa,
buy it
you
from
just the brokers are who pays the cost freight insurance. 5,000.
It's depending on how you
The
are
one, the
paying.
person who imported the car.
Most of them to
Yeah.
entice you,
Yeah.
they'll tell you,
I'll pay.
I'll pay. All you have to do is just to pick the car from the port. But again, I don't know. I would prefer buying a car from a local seller, like those
especially if you're a
yards.
first timer and it's
Yeah.
not for business. Now, if it's for business, it's a whole other thing because the profit margin is also something you put into
Yeah.
play. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's always to buy from someone who you can. They are tangible. You know their offices. So
Yeah.
if there's an issue, you can always walk.
You don't want to buy a car and always spend your time in the garage.
Yeah, and I think one of
Yeah.
the most points we have to highlight is inspection is very important because for a car does not have a warranty. You cannot buy a car and say in 6 months. You purchase the vehicle
As it
as
is.
is.
As is.
So that's very important aspect of inspection. You just have to inspect the car, no matter what. Don't even send people to look at a car and then come back and maybe with a car and you don't like
You
it.
have to physically
Just go there,
inspect the car.
spare some time, just go, inspect it, and then make an informed decision from that.
Yeah.
Then you also have to inspect the logbook.
Yeah.
That's the second point. Yeah.
About car ownership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to get a physical copy of the logbook, whether it's a duplicate logbook or the original transfer logbook. It's usually written at the top there. So if it's a duplicate logbook, it means that that car might be charged. It might be on a, someone might have taken a loan and kept that car as security for the loan. So in that instance, you have to also do you have to obtain an abstract to show that this a real duplicate logbook for the if you happen to have a duplicate logbook. So you can get an abstract from a police station or somewhere else. And also you have to visit NTSA.
Yeah. But even apart from that, people sell cars, which yes, they are theirs, but when you go to the logbook, they are not registered. And it's just something we were discussing before the session. And it's hypothetical that Jean might want to buy a car from Faith. So she goes and approaches Faith. She has been seeing Faith driving this car for the longest period, and she knows the car belongs to Faith, and it's like public knowledge. It's a car. So Faith, they settle down. They agree on everything. She likes the car. So it comes to the part of now exchanging documents. But Jean notices the car, the name in the logbook is not.
Maybe it's my mother's name because it was a gift.
It was a gift from her mother. So under that, now what is she supposed to do? Because now Faith doesn't have the legal right to transfer.
In this instance, the mother has to be involved. The mother has to be involved.
Because it's the person who will be signing the agreement or the sale agreement versus now the buyer. Faith cannot sign it. As much as she's selling and getting the proceeds of the sale, she's not be signing anyway. So those are now some of other things that you might want to consider. It's very common. I mean, people are bought for cars like every other day. Husbands buy cars for their wives, and at some point the wives want to
transfer the vehicle.
You remember when Betty Chandler
So anyway, as we are saying, basically, for you, the copy that you obtained from NTSA, the copy of the logbook will inform you as to whether the owner of the property is actually that who's purporting to transfer the rights. If the car is is charged. Because if the property is charged, if the car is charged, then this person, you have to involve the person, a third party.
Like the bank,
the financial. Because do you know, if you buy a car that has been charged and is under loan, that means it is in the ownership of the bank. The bank can't repossess it. Then where are you left?
In fact,
you bought a car, it's 400,000, 500,000, and then the bank comes and says the loan has not been served, it has not been paid.
And I know that's very true. I know of a real example where someone bought a car and it was under a loan. Actually, it was bought through a loan. You know, you get a loan to buy a car, then you don't finish paying, so you sell it. So this person was not keen enough to notice it's actually charged. So when the bank realizes that this person is no longer paying, they'll come and repossess the car. Because that's what
repossessing means that the bank takes the
car back. So they don't care now who is the current owner. That is the car, they know it has the registration number, so they are coming for it. Whether you are the one who took the loan or not, that will not be in question. They'll take the car, and it's up to you now. Either you repay the loan in full, or your car is gone. And it's very unfortunate. Now it's when you'll start running to maybe court or seeking
That's why you should involve an advocate in the first place.
And the reason you do involve an advocate is like for instance in this particular case where the car has been charged, an advocate would know that we should include a clause in that sale agreement saying that this money, the proceeds of this money, this amount of money is going to be used to clear the charge. So at the end of the day, you're buying something that is validly yours. You have no worries in future of your car being repossessed or being taken away from you.